Hey y'all, how you doing? Happy birthday to you. Y'all make sure you like, share, and subscribe the video. Okay, and then make sure you smash the like button and we appreciate you. Uh y'all, let's get the lights up. Please get the lights up for them. Because we got 7,000 something subscribers. We should have that many likes, okay? Now, the mother of this murdered Tampa teenager, uh, she was murdered by this happening in 2022, and the mom is taking this stand for her daughter. Her daughter is no longer here with us, but now this is for educating you all and comment and criticism purposes. As the video plays, I'm gonna intervene every now and then. So everything I say with the reaction to this video is my opinion. Shout out to all my TikTokers. Shout out to all my YouTubers. Shout out to all the mods and everybody who support the channel. Okay.
Ma'am, good morning. Can you please state your full name for the record? Ashley Alexander. Ma'am, are you currently employed? Yes, ma'am. Where do you work? Call center. Okay. How long have you done that? 22 years. 22 years? If you can get closer to the microphone, please. And okay, thank you. You're welcome. So, ma'am, I'd like to ask you, do you know or did you know Alexia Alexander? Yes, ma'am. How did you know her? I was her mother. Okay.
Okay, let me tell y'all this before we get started. Alexandra, this is her adopted mother. She adopted Alexandra. Nilexia. I don't know why I say Alexandra because that's her mom name. She adopted her. And she adopted her when she was 2. And she was 19 when this happened to her. She started being a runaway. Okay.
And were you her biological mother? No. How did you come in contact with Alexia Alexander? I adopted her. And how did you go about that process? I was her foster mother. You could look this way, ma'am? Okay, thank you. You were her foster mother? Yes, ma'am. Okay. How long were you her foster mother? So
this week we're hosting a
Y'all, I ain't gonna try to. I'm not talking about her or anything. First of all, the way she came to court.
2 years. 2 years.
Hey
When
guys.
did you become Alexia Alexander's foster mom? What age was she? She was 2.
How you doing,
She
Josh?
was 2 years old. 2 years old. In the foster, when you go through the foster mother process, does it automatically go to a point where you can then adopt the child, or how did it happen in this particular situation? She went through the foster care. Her parents lost legal rights, and I was able to adopt her. Her parents did what? Lost their legal rights. Okay. And you were able to adopt her? Yes. Why did you make the decision to do so? I fell in love with Alexia and her sister. Okay. How old was Alexia when she was ultimately adopted? 4. And you said that you fell in love with her and her sister. How old was her sister? 1. Okay. How old were you when you adopted Alexia Alexander and her sister? I was 27. You were 27 years old? Yes, ma'am. Did you have other children? No, ma'am. Were you married? No, ma'am. You just elected to adopt?
I wonder why. Hold up, y'all. I wonder why she's talking to the adopted mom like that. It's just the way she's talking to the adopted mom. And I got a problem. When y'all go to court, I'm not trying to tell y'all what to do. When y'all go to court, try to dress presentable when you go to court, you know. Uh, okay, they be looking at all of that. Okay. So they probably up there talking about that too. What you doing, Josh? Josh in the house, y'all. How everybody doing? Those who watching, I appreciate y'all. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe to this video. This is a very interesting trial, and whoever that was asking her the question, I don't know if it was the one in the red. I don't like how she was talking to that lady. I really didn't. I really don't. Uh oh, what they talking about? Uh oh. What they talking about, y'all? I believe they talking about the way they talking to her. That's still that she adopted that girl when she was 27 years old. And who which I don't know which one of them ladies up there talking to her. I don't know if this one in the red. I don't know who's talking to her. But I don't like how they talking to that girl. Because they asking her what make you adopt her, why you adopt her. What's look how he looking. Uh-uh.
Okay. At some point,
Oh, it's the one in the red.
Alexia start asking you about her father. Yes, ma'am. Okay. And did that lead you to then have a conversation with Alexia? Yes, ma'am. And at some point, did you tell her that she was adopted? Yes. Did you have a conversation with Alexia about her biological parents? Yes, ma'am.
Oh, y'all, hold on, y'all. Uh-oh. This case gonna be good, y'all. Hold on for a second. Hold on for a second, y'all. Let me turn this noise down, some of this noise. Uh-oh. I just heard what they asked her. Oh, yeah. I heard what they just asked her. Hold on, y'all. One second. One second. See. See, she asked her, did she mention her, did she talk to the young lady about her adopted, her real family? And the reason why she started running away like that. Uh-oh. This gonna be good.
Some type of reaction from Alexia? Yes, ma'am. I'll ask you again. Did that cause some kind of reaction from Alexia? Yes, ma'am. And what was that reaction? She started running away. Okay. And
Wow.
do you personally know why she was running away? Looking for her parents. Okay. At what age did she begin to do this? 11. Okay.
What?
And when this would happen, when Alexia would run away, did you file any type of report or notification? Every time. Okay. Did you make it clear to the police that she was running away? Yes, ma'am. Well, you know what I mean?
I mean, why don't you sit down and let the lady ask her the question? How about sitting there? 'Cause the attorney here is asking her some interesting questions because the girl started running away at 11 years old. How is that irrelevant? She started running away at 11 years old after she told her that she was adopted. Now why is sit down, honey.
May we approach?
They gonna do this through the whole trial? Okay, y'all, why they sidebar? Oh Lord. I want to know, since she was adopted, why they sidebarring y'all, I'm gonna talk to y'all. I wonder if since she was adopted by her, what make her tell her at the age of 11 that she was adopted? That's when she started running away. What make her tell that 11-year-old that she was adopted? And then soon she told her that. She gonna want to know her parents. What make her start talking to her? I wonder what she jealous of her adopted daughter. Cause that girl was beautiful. She ended up being she was beautiful. And then she come to court dressed like that. I don't know what's going on. Y'all tell me what y'all think. Right now, y'all, they sidebarring. But she had that girl since she was 2 years old. I know you want to cry and everything. But I'm saying, though, what make you want to tell her at the age of 11 that she was adopted? And then you said that's when she started. Just imagine, y'all, we was once upon a time 11 years old. Here they come.
On April the 23rd of 2023, did you receive a call from law enforcement? April 23rd, 2022. April 23rd of 2022. Did you receive a call from law enforcement? Yes, ma'am. From Tampa Police Department. I'm sorry, say that? From TPD, yes. Okay. And when you received that call, did law enforcement tell you why? Yes, ma'am. Okay. And at the time, when you received that call, was Alexia Alexander at home on that day? No, ma'am, she was not. Okay. Based on that phone call, did you have to respond to a particular location? Yes, ma'am, I did. Where did you respond to? East 29th and Lake. Okay. And is that in the Belmont Heights area? It is. Okay. And did you come in contact with anyone when you went to that location? Other than the police department and Lexi. Okay, so you came in contact with law enforcement and Alexia? Yes, ma'am. Okay. And have you had an opportunity to listen to the April the 23rd, 2022 911 call? Yes, ma'am. And the individual that called 911, do you recognize the voice of that person? Yes, ma'am. And who was that person? It was Alexia. It was Lexi. It was Lexi. Okay. And you call her Lexi, is that correct? Yes. All right. But her official name is Alexia. Yes, ma'am. Okay. And the phone number that she called from, this 813-447-6234, is that a number that you had bought the phone for? No, ma'am. Okay, so that's a number you were not aware of, is that correct? Ma'am. Okay. Are you familiar with the area that you picked up Alexia, this Belmont Heights area? Yes, ma'am. You are familiar with that area? Yes, ma'am. How are you familiar with that area? I'm from East Temple. I have family that stays in Belmont Heights. Okay. Well, I would like to publish State Exhibit 381, Your Honor.
Why he kill her? He had to kill her. Start, Campbell.
For the record, 35207. This individual walking towards a vehicle. Do you recognize that individual?
Yes, ma'am.
How?
The walk, the hair, ponytail.
Who is that?
That's next, not next to you.
Okay. Do you recognize this vehicle
No, ma'am, I do
that she's
not.
walking towards? Okay.
She walking toward the car.
Publishing State Exhibit 3B.
Hey, DeMarco. This is a trial, a teenager girl in Tampa. She was shot and killed by this grown man in the back of his car. And her mom, her adopted mom, is taking a stand.
Do you recognize the individual depicted in this video?
Yes, ma'am.
Who is that?
That's not Accuse.
Okay. And do you recognize her in any particular way, based on any particular thing?
Her walk, her hair,
Okay.
skin tone.
Okay.
She started running away at 11 after she found out that's her adopted mother. So it looked like to me she's turned into a prostitute, allegedly. I don't know why that prosecutor going kind of slow. I guess they looking at look at that car right there, y'all.
Do you recognize this?
No, ma'am, I do not.
Do you recognize this vehicle?
No, ma'am, I do not.
I'm a prosecutor. So y'all, she's 19 year. I think she's 19 now. And this happened back in 2022, but they in trial today. Um, you just seen Alessia walking just a few minutes ago, and she jumping in cars with the guy. But I think she know this man running Walker.
This vehicle here, do you recognize it?
No, ma'am, I do not.
She got in that vehicle.
Did you know, and I'm talking about May of 2022, did
Sure,
you
it
know
is
Ronnie Walker?
crazy.
No, ma'am.
Did you know
They got to
Ronnie-
be careful out
No,
here.
ma'am.
Especially the young girl just be.
Your Honor, may I have a moment?
Whew. And Alessia is kind of big. She's wonder where she going. What they doing? What it? What's going on?
The state was
What? Well, let me show y'all Alessia right here. I wonder why it went off like that. That is crazy. It's supposed to be the trial. Hold on, y'all.
A major update this evening,
Let me
the
let y'all see.
2022 murder of 14-year-old
Here she go.
Alexia Alexander. Jury selection is now underway for the trial of Ronnie Walker, the man accused of shooting and killing her. Now, if convicted, Walker faces the death penalty, and with opening arguments now just 10 days away, 10 Tampa Bay's Doria Chumba breaks down the key pieces of evidence jurors will soon have to consider.
It won't bring my baby girl
Tampa.
back,
There she go.
but it would give me some peace. Days off the
This in
streets.
Tampa, DeMarco.
That's Alexia Alexander's mom, Ashley, speaking at a news conference on the arrest of Ronnie Walker in July 2022. Alexia's body was found 2 months before near West Nebraska Avenue in Tampa. Shell casings and a charger at the scene, but not Alexia's cell phone. Her phone was later tracked via GPS to a dark sedan connected to
But
Walker.
they said she went for
Investigators say
14.
nearby surveillance footage captured the same vehicle parked near the lot with its headlights off. The car was later found at Tampa General Hospital. Inside, investigators say they found traces of blood, which DNA tests confirmed belonged to Alexia and Walker.
Y'all, let me correct something. She won for 14. I thought she was 19. She wasn't but 14. But when she was 11, that's when she found out she was adopted. I wonder why was it so important to tell her that she was adopted at 11. But see, but I'm gonna see, can I find the jury that they just started the trial? So I know they got more than this. So let me I don't know what Tampa doing.
Also say additional surveillance footage shows Alexia getting into Walker's car near his home shortly before she was killed.
Take a baby's life. You have to be heartless.
Alexia's mother on the first anniversary of her daughter's murder.
I would never have a closure of why he took my daughter's life at 14.
Before Alexia's murder, Walker had a 2010 manslaughter conviction for the fatal shooting of Elaine Caldwell during a 2003 home invasion. His original life sentence was reduced to 8 years through a plea deal and was released after serving 5.
This is an animal. They just need to just keep him locked up. We're going to just do everything they got to do in their power to not let this man walk again on the street.
And prosecutors hope jurors feel the same way when they push for capital punishment at trial.
Let me see how they start the trial, y'all. They supposed to start the trial, and that's what I'm supposed to be showing y'all today. So, I don't understand what happened. Murder trial, open statement. Let me check this out. I just don't understand how. Hold on, y'all. Let me show. This supposed to be the trial. That's the purpose, the reason why I'm here, because I want y'all to catch. We want to catch it from the beginning. Look at this man right here, honey. He don't make me mad, and she was 14 years old at the time. Okay. Mm. So y'all, while they taking a little break, this girl went but 14 when this happened. Y'all, let's not give up on our kids. Let's talk to them. Um, I know she was adopted. She been adopted since she was 2, and the lady was 27 when she got her. But let's watch our daughters and our sons. They may mature early, but they still young people. Let's make good decisions. 'Cause I hate that this happened to this beautiful girl. And I think he was married, but I don't understand why he'd take her life. He's trying to claim he didn't do it, but he did it. His name Ronnie Walker. This is his trial. And it happened in 2022. And today they having her trial. So we're gonna start the opening statement in a minute. Look at him over there. A grown man. All these grown women out here. I'm out here. I'm single. But I ain't about to choose anybody. For her to be a girl and for her to run away at the age of, I'm gonna put it on her adopted mama. For her to run away at the age of 11 just because you told her she was adopted, this is something else going on with this. I guess I'm just strict. Sure, I had 3 girls and 2 boys. And you talking about a mom that kept her eye open and had everybody else eye open. I think this year, let me see, 22, she was, she would have been like 18 years old today in this time. But she was 14 when it happened. I wonder why people are taking, this me, y'all, I'm just talking. I wonder why people taking people's lives now. I mean, why don't you just let them go? Because you're going to go to court. You going to do the time. He trying to say he guilty. He didn't, not guilty. He didn't do it. Let me skip it a little bit, y'all. I'm going to skip it a little bit. Here we go. Right. I ain't gonna, soon as I say I'm skip, they started. Oh, that must be her daddy right there. And see, us as parents, if we do what we supposed to do, okay, that would be a stressful situation to wake up in the morning and have to deal with something like that. Exactly. In these days, they got to talk to them. And this girl was, oh Lord, I just, all these grown women out here. Leave them babies alone. You know, back in the day, it was different. It wasn't too much like what's going on now. And he worrying about how his suit look. Looking at the camera. I mean, what make him do that to a little 14-year-old girl? Jesus. We used to didn't do that to our kids, to kids back in the days. He thought he was gonna get away with it. Look at him. I bet he married.
All rise for the jurors.
Look at the judge. There go her process. There go her attorney. Prosecutors, I meant to say.
Attorney Scott, you all may be seated. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Court of 55. Once again, we're able to follow the court's instructions. Did no research, didn't look anything up, no one harmed you. You spoke to no one. If you maybe ran into anybody in the media, did any media speak to you? Did you speak to any media?
Why he talking low?
No, yeah. Very good. Statement when you begin with openings when you're ready. Thank you, Your Honor. Good morning. In May of 2022, 14-year-old Alexia Alexander had run away from home. It wasn't her first time running away from home. She'd been struggling and acting as immaturely. And in that May of 2022, Alexia made a decision that ultimately led to her death. Because on May the 6th of 2022 at around 3 a.m., Alexia Alexander got in the car along with that man right there, Ronnie Walker.
Mm.
She'd been out on the streets, she'd been wandering around, she was in an apartment complex. And she gets picked up by Ronnie Walker. You will see, ladies and gentlemen, video of those last minutes of her life. You will hear how Ronnie Walker had been driving around looking for her and found her just blocks away from where he was living. You will see these videos.
The world of wall doing up in the courtroom. Golly.
And you will see Alexia. You will see her walking around with a cell phone in her hand and a cell phone charger around her neck. The video will show her walking into that little area, down that little alley. And shortly after that, you will see a black car driven by that man, Ronnie Walker, pulling into that same location. From a ring camera at a residence there, you will see Alexia Alexander get in the car belonging to Ronnie Walker. That, ladies and gentlemen, will be the last time she is seen alive. See, that night, Ronnie Walker had decided he was going to kill Alexia Alexander. He found her, he got her in the car, and drove away. You're going to hear that he drove
to a convenience store where he bought her a drink. One can only assume that at that time, Alexia Alexander had no idea what was awaiting her. You're going to hear and see from different cameras this vehicle driven by Ronnie Walker driving around at that time of the night into different little neighborhoods, down streets. And it will end up in a neighborhood around Flora, Nebraska, and North Highland Avenue. It will end up right next to a vacant field where you see that blue spot. That's a dead-end road in a vacant lot. You're going to see that vehicle pull into there. We have video, ladies and gentlemen, and you will see that car pull into there. The car will turn down onto Flora, Nebraska, drive down to the end of the road. You will see it coming back down Flora, Nebraska, and pause and stop right next to that vacant field. The lights will go off of the car. 50 seconds will pass. The lights will come on, but then immediately the lights will turn back off and the car will drive away with its lights off. During that time, Ronnie Walker shot and killed Alexia Alexander.
Yeah, I wonder what made him. I'm gonna, we have to go in and out of the video. What in the world would give him the audacity to do this to a 14-year-old girl? To me, he took her life as if he knew her or knew somebody that knew her. That this is what he's supposed to do. Or this is what he was assigned to do. Or either this is what he wanted to do. But that's weird. That's weird to pick up a 14-year-old and then take her somewhere and then take her life? What is wrong with people?
Left her body in that vacant field.
Oh, have mercy. Left her body out there.
This, ladies and gentlemen, is the video you are going to see. And you will see the car. There's a spider web kind of caught in the middle of it, so it misses some of it. But you will see the car turn down that road, turn back up, stop. The lights will go off. 50 seconds will pass.
Let's see the
And
car.
then you'll see the lights come on. Clearly the car is being turned back on. And then the lights will immediately be shut off as the car drives away.
See the car. So he know he was coming to pick her up then. There you go. There you go. There you go. Mm-mm.
Here the car comes back and stops.
You can't see with it.
Right there is when Alexia Alexander is being murdered.
You can't see. Wow.
back on, lights are off as the car drives away.
They got a better camera than this, y'all.
We learn what happened in that car. We learn that because we are later able to ascertain the identity of the passenger in that car, Robert Quincy Creed. Robert Quincy Creed tells us that at that point when the car stops, Ronnie Walker begins to yell at Nylexia and asks her if she's having sex with someone. He's not exactly sure what the whole screaming is about or the argument about, and at that point in time wasn't paying a lot of attention until suddenly he hears a gunshot in the car and looks over and sees Nylexia Alexander holding her chest and sees Ronnie Walker holding a silver or chrome firearm in his hand. Ronnie Walker orders Nylexia out of the vehicle after being shot, and she gets out of the car. And Ronnie Walker gets out of the car with her. She walks a couple feet away from the car, at which point she is shot 3 more times in the head, one of them within 12 inches of her face.
Jeez.
You'll see the stippling to her face, which a medical examiner is going to tell you means that gun was within 12 inches of her face. Intentional, premeditated. Her body's left there on the field, and as you see from that video, the car quickly drives away, lights off. Robert Quincy Creed will tell you that he was sick that night, didn't want to go out, but Ronnie Walker insisted that he went with him, that all occurred. He did not know. He will tell you that he believes she was shot in the chest because of the way she was holding her chest. That he did not see how she was shot outside, but he thought he shot 2 more times. We have audio evidence, ladies and gentlemen, and you're going to hear from another camera the actual shots that occurred and the timing of those shots, which was at 3:08 a.m. And you're going to hear one shot, a significant pause, 4 more shots in rapid succession, another pause, and then another shot. 6 times Ronnie Walker shot that gun. Shot her once in that car, then shot her outside the car, executing her.
Wow.
Now, Robert Quincy Creed, ladies and gentlemen, is an accomplice, as you know. He was charged with accessory after the fact. He has pled guilty to that. And he has a prior felony record. And you're going to hear that his phone had contact with Nylexia at some point in the past as well. We're not here to tell you that Robert Quincy Creed is completely hands off of this. We know he was involved as well. That's why he was charged. Now, going beyond what Robert Quincy Creed says, detectives are out there. They find out a little while later they receive a 911 call. They go out to the scene and they find a body. Nylexia Alexander. At this point in time, they don't know who this body is. They don't know who she is. And you'll see pictures of the crime scene. You'll see pictures of the body of Nylexia Alexander and how she was discovered abandoned in that crime scene.
Okay, y'all, I'm gonna stop it for a minute. Do y'all remember the case that we're working on now with Naziah Harris? Naziah Harris was in this same sort of kind of situation, but she was 11, just like Nylexia. Nylexia was 11 years old when she first ran away to be with this man. Okay, DeMarco. to be with this man. Now she's no longer here. What can a 14-year-old girl? Then Alexis found out that she was adopted. She started running away. Now she 14. Now she jumping in and trafficking to me, just like Jarvis Butts, just like Ronnie Walker. It's happening too much to our young kids who in adoption home. He didn't have to do her like that. And for him to ask her, is she messing around on him? He got to be in a relationship with somebody else. Same thing with Nazaria Harris. We seeing too many of these kind of cases, y'all. We seeing too much of this.
You will see that the detectives at that point go around looking for cameras, and that's when they find this video. So at this point in time, they have a description of a vehicle. They have Alexia Alexander's body, who they haven't yet even identified. And that's it. And ladies and gentlemen, that may have been the end of it. A case gone cold with the body of a 14-year-old runaway left on a vacant lot. That could have been the end. But it wasn't. Because Alexia Alexander left a clue. She left a lead for the detectives.
Good.
Alexia Alexander left her phone in the back seat of that vehicle.
What?
And Ronnie Walker didn't know that.
And see, y'all, that's good. See, she left her phone in the back seat of the car she was in, just like Nazaria Harris left her glasses in the back of that car. They didn't leave the evidence for nothing. They didn't leave this not to be found. They left it for a reason.
So I'm going to come back to that in a moment. But first, ladies and gentlemen, let me talk to you quickly about the crime scene. Detectives come out. You're going to hear the investigation that they did at the crime scene. At the crime scene, they find Alexia Alexander. They don't find a phone, but they find the cord that you saw around her neck in that picture, the charger, and they find a bottle of a drink that she was drinking at the time. They find a shell casing. They find some blood. They don't see much else. Alexia Alexander is taken to the medical examiner's office, where an autopsy is conducted. She is shot once in the shoulder that comes out through around the clavicle area. She's shot 3 times in the head, and again, one of those very close shot. The detective who was running the crime scene, who you will hear from, Detective Aaron Campbell, believes there's got to be something more out at that crime scene. Now remember, when they're doing this crime scene, it's the middle of the night, it's dark. You can see how dark it was in that video. This is a dark, vacant lot. There's no lights. There's nothing to see. So he goes back out there. And when he goes back out there, you're going to hear that he finds 2 more casings. And he also finds 2 projectiles in the ground. All of these casings match up. They were all fired from the same gun.
Okay, DeMarco.
So 4 casings are total of found.
Okay.
So at this point in time, they eventually, because of a tattoo that Alexander had on her arm, they're able to identify her. So they start doing some research, investigation, and they find out that a few weeks before, Alexia Alexander had actually called 911 from a telephone. And that 911 call registers the phone number on that phone. So they begin to do an investigation into that phone number. They find something amazing. after Alexia Alexander has been killed, based on what they've been able to determine as the time that she was shot, her phone continues to move.
What?
They're able to follow it for a while, and are able to capture some videos of that car moving in specific areas where the phone was moving. That same black vehicle that you saw in that video. And they continue to follow where that phone seems to go on that evening, just after the homicide.
And see, this is how y'all know we got to react through the video, okay? Now this is what's the same thing happened to Naziah Harris. Jarvis' butt phone was being just like uh Nalexia, but her name Alexia, but they call her Nalexia. But her phone was in the back. The man don't realize that her phone is in the back or his car being just like Jarvis didn't know his phone was doing it. So we know that Alexis Naziah Harris is not here with us the same way Nalesia is not here with us. Which she was 14 and Naziah Harris was 12 when it happened to her. It happening too much, y'all.
Follow it all the way to a Thornton's on Hillsborough. And at that Thornton,
Say it.
and at that Thornton's, they see that car pull in. And they see this man get out of the car, out of the driver's seat. Ronnie Walker.
Right? Mm, mm, mm.
They now have a face. At this point in time, they haven't identified him, but they know that's the car. They know that car is there at the same time as Alexia Alexander's phone is there. And they now see a gentleman wearing this jacket, which will become important as well, getting gas. They also see someone get out of the passenger side.
What?
Again, they can't identify, but they know that there were two men in that car. The driver, Ronnie Walker, this passenger, who they will later identify as Robert Quincy Green.
Well, how y'all determine who did it? Who shot her?
So they continue to follow this phone. It's like a trail of breadcrumbs. And the phone leaves that Thornton's, and it goes to an area near where Alexia Alexander was when she was picked up. And it's there for a while.
What?
Again, at this point in time, they don't know who this is. They know they have a picture of this man. They have a general idea, description. They know the general type of car. But they don't know who he is. But they know that Alexia Alexander's phone has gone to this other location and it's there for a while. But here's another funny thing. The next day, that phone starts moving again.
What?
Walker still has not found out or figured out that that phone is still in his car. And so they follow it the next day. And sure enough, the next day, drives through downtown Tampa, and they see it go to an area around Tampa General Hospital. The phone does. Alexia Alexander's phone. And so they were able to pull up Tampa General Hospital's license plate readers. And sure enough, there's a license plate reader there, and they see the car come through, and that license plate reader identifies the owner of that vehicle as Ronnie Walker.
Wow.
Now they have a name. So they then attempt to locate Ronnie Walker, and they don't find him at first, but they notice that the tag has a thing on it that says Giant Motor Sales. So they realized that it was purchased at a used car dealership, Giant Motor Sales. So they decided to go to Giant Motor Sales to talk to the person there about the purchase and see if maybe it has a locator on it or something. And when they get there, lo and behold, who is there but Ronnie Walker himself.
Wow.
Turns out Ronnie Walker worked there.
What?
Now, by this point in time in the investigation, the phone is no longer pinging. Clearly, the phone had been discovered and discarded.
Wow.
So they get there, and they immediately meet with Ronnie Walker, who proceeds to tell them various things that are clearly provable lies. He gives the wrong name of his girlfriend. He indicates someone was with him at Tampa General Hospital who they later find out was not with him. So they continue to their investigation.
It's a horror movie. Oh, it's scary.
The car is at the Giant Motor Lots. It's clearly impounded, taken into evidence. The car is searched. No phone. Alex Alexander's phone is not in that car. And they proceed to look for any evidence in the car. Any blood, anything like that. And you're going to hear from a crime scene investigator who will tell you how they do that. And one of the things they do is this thing called Blue Star, which lights up kind of an ultraviolet light when there is iron or something that could potentially be blood in the car. And sure enough, on the back passenger driver's side, or back seat driver's side passenger, in the little area when you open the door, that little door jamb area, they see what looks to be some sort of substance, and they swab it and test positive for blood. That blood, ladies and gentlemen, is not Alexia Alexander's blood.
Wow.
It was a mixture. It was an Alexia Alexander and Ronnie Walker
And
and some other unknown individual. Not Robert Quincy Cree, but some other unknown individual. But Alexia Alexander was the main one. They also learned that Ronnie Walker at that time had a girlfriend by the name of Erica Sweet. He gave a different name for her, Erica Roberts or something, but her name was Erica Sweet. And they learned that he was living with Erica Sweet at the time. And it turns out Erica Sweet was only a couple of blocks from where Alexia Alexander was picked up.
what?
And also, interestingly enough, the phone, Alexia Alexander's phone, that whole night was in an area associated or where Erica Sweet lives and Ronnie Walker lives.
So you tell me that he got a whole girlfriend and he did this to a 14-year-old. Y'all be safe out there, okay? I know you want to be grown, but be safe.
You also hear that another individual comes forward, a man by the name of Stanley Wilson, a man who has a significant prior criminal history. He is a man who sold fake insurance to people. And so he eventually got convicted of selling fake insurance to lots of different people.
What?
So each one of those is a felony, so he has a lot of felonies. But you are also going to hear that at the time he was dating or seeing Ronnie Walker's niece. In that he is kind of a, I don't know if the word is player, but he kind of knows the neighborhood, knows a lot of people, works with a lot of bondsmen. And he will tell you that Ronnie Walker approached him one day and said, hey, I might need a bond. He initially tells him that Q or Quincy Creed shot a girl. But then he says, no man, it's me. I need it for me. I'm the one who shot her. Can you help me out with that? And he tells Stanley Wilson that he shot her because she had given him an STD, or he believed she had. That was
What?
his belief. Which he had then given to his girlfriend.
Thank you. That's what I said.
The evidence, ladies and
So what
gentlemen,
he
showing
did
you.
was he blamed the 14-year-old for giving him an STD, but he don't know where he got it from. That's why he did her like that, because he got a girlfriend. So I think people need to go back to stop cheating when you with somebody else. Then you won't have to worry about nothing like this. But when you single and when you single and not married, that's different. And like you said, he
That Ronnie Walker picked up
blamed the
Alexia
parents
Alexander,
as well.
drove her to a secluded spot, shot her multiple times, including once in the face
Camper,
at close range,
please.
drove to the Thorntons with her phone after committing this murder, drove back home to Erica Sweet's house, where his phone and Erica Sweet's phone. And that's another thing. Erica Sweet had a phone also. Ronnie Walker at that time didn't have a phone, but Erica Sweet did. His girlfriend, his what he called her wifey. And that night, at 3 a.m., sure enough, Erica Sweet's phone's moving. And it's moving along with Ronnie Walker's car. And at a certain point, and you will see video of this, both Erica Sweet's phone and Alexia Alexander's phone are moving completely together.
Wow.
They're both in the car. And then they both come to stop at the residence of Erica Sweet, where Ronnie Walker was staying.
Shame.
Ronnie Walker tried his best to clean his car, but missed some blood. And that blood connects to Alexia Alexander and proves she was shot in that vehicle before getting out and ultimately shot in that vacant field.
I mean, you went over to your girlfriend's house after murdering someone, but then clean the back seat off. That's the same thing Jarvis Butts did. He didn't clean nothing. He didn't clean that car out. What is wrong with these people?
All of the evidence, ladies and gentlemen, points to Ronnie Walker in that car. A car that on May the 6th of 2022, Alexia Alexander made the wrong choice to get into.
That's right.
And ladies and gentlemen, at the conclusion of this case, the state is convinced that you will make the right choice and find Ronnie Walker guilty as charged of first-degree premeditated murder.
Good job, prosecutor. That was the prosecutor, y'all. Uh-oh, let's hear what she gonna say. Come to defense, y'all. What in the world she's about to say? Now look at him. Think he cute. Had a whole girlfriend at home. I bet she still love him. I bet she still love him. They love them men, honey. Only thing they had to do was let that 14-year-old girl out that car and let her mind her business.
May it please the court. Counsel. Good morning, members of the jury. This is not a case of felony murder. It's not a case of a principle where you have two people working together to commit a crime. And the facts and the evidence is going to show that this is not a case where Ronnie Walker killed Alexia Alexander. The facts and the evidence are going to show that this is a case where one man, and one man only, is responsible for Alexia Alexander's death, and that is Robert Quincy Creed. As you heard from Mr. Terry, I expect that you will get to hear from Mr.
Oh my
Creed.
gosh.
And I'm going to go through some of the circumstances under which Mr. Creed is facing charges.
Y'all, she got in the car with something looked like that. Well, okay, see y'all, this what's going on. Robert Creed is the one assassinated her. He said he was guilty. Him. But the man sitting in the courtroom, Ronnie Walker, it was his car that he committed the crime in. So he know about the crime. He could have prevented this crime. He could have told him not to take that. Don't do this, man. Don't do that. You already shot her one time. Leave it alone. But he didn't. He stayed let this man right here stayed in the car and do the killing. See, Robert looked like to me a street man came out that looked like I don't want to say what I want to say, but he looked like somebody that you could pay to do something, to commit a crime. And I believe that's what happened because Ronnie's girlfriend ended up with an STD. So he used this man, Ronnie, who's sitting in the courtroom, used him to take Nalesia life. I see what they kind of game Ronnie is playing. Ronnie hired him to do the killing. But he need to go to jail too. Ronnie do, but this guy right here already locked up.
And I'm going to go through a little bit of the investigation and touch on some of the points that the prosecution left out during their opening statement. So forgive me if you see and hear some of the same things, but I'm asking you to look at it from a different perspective. So how does Mr. Walker get here? How does Ronnie Walker get accused of first-degree premeditated murder facing the death penalty? Well, as Mr. Terry points out, it starts with that car, right? Shortly before 9 o'clock a.m. on May 6th, law enforcement responds to the area of Highland and Flora, Nebraska, and they locate the deceased, who later becomes known to them to be Alexia Alexander. The first course of action that the detectives do is they canvass the area for video surveillance. And lo and behold, they see a vehicle traveling around the area, a black vehicle. You'll get to see some of these videos, I expect. This is a screenshot from that vehicle traveling on Highland Avenue. And they see a black vehicle and multiple cameras. So the vehicle becomes somewhat of an interest to them. The police continue to canvass the area. They go to several locations and they keep seeing this black vehicle. But they don't have a name, they don't have a face, they don't have a license plate. Eventually, their big break is when they learn that Alexia Alexander has a phone number. A phone number that her mother did not know about. And Alexia kept this phone. Law enforcement learns about it from Alexia's younger cousins. When they're able to pull the phone records from Alexia Alexander's phone, they then are able to see different locations that she was at during this time period that law enforcement is interested in, right? We're talking about roughly 3 o'clock a.m. on May 6th and thereafter. One of the locations that they certainly find that Alexia Alexander's phone is pinging to cell phone towers out is at Thornton's gas station. And they see that black vehicle. They see a driver in the black vehicle. They see a passenger in the black vehicle. This is captured at some time after the shooting occurs. This is the only video that you will see which shows either the driver or the passenger at or around the time of the shooting. So we know that there is a driver and a passenger at the time that this vehicle is at Thornton's. What we don't know is if there was a driver and a passenger before that. We don't know who was driving the car before that. The only evidence of that, quite frankly, is going to come from Robert Creed, and I'll talk about him a little bit more in a moment. Law enforcement continues to track the car, figuring out where else can they pull some video surveillance from, and again, we have that Tampa General Hospital video, and you'll see it may be a little bit difficult here, but the video will make it clearer. There's that passenger again, wearing those shorts that he was wearing in the Thornton's gas station video. So we know that that's the same person, and I expect Robert Creed will come in here and he will tell you that that is him at Thornton's, him at the gas station at Tampa General. They now are able to get a license plate number for that Ford, and that ultimately is what leads law enforcement to Ronnie Walker. They go and they contact Mr. Walker. They come into contact with him where Mr. Walker is working. Mr. Walker is more than cooperative with them. He talks to law enforcement for hours. He gives them his DNA. He gives them his phone. He gives them his car. While Mr. Walker is talking to law enforcement, he tells them about his girlfriend, Erica, who happened, just by coincidence, to be showing up at the Ford Motor store, or Ford Motor property, at the very time where Mr. Walker is talking to law enforcement. And he tells law enforcement, there she is. Law enforcement talks to Erica Sweet. Law enforcement is able to get phone numbers for Ronnie Walker. They're able to get a phone number for Erica Sweet. Law enforcement then pulls phone records for Mr. Walker, pulls phone records for Mr. Sweet. What the evidence is actually going to show is that Mr. Walker, in fact, did have a working phone at and around before and after the time of the shooting. Back in back in May of 2022. And you can see there are multiple phone calls, text messages made on May 5th, May 6th, and the records will be introduced. You'll be able to see that clearly this phone was in use. Law enforcement then tries to cross-reference. Well, we have a phone number for Alexia Alexander. We have the phone records for Ronnie Walker. And so let's see if the two are communicating. They are not. There is no crossover, no social media, no phone records, nothing to indicate that Mr. Walker even knew who Alexia Alexander was. When they get the phone records for Erica Sweet, there are a couple of things that are of interest to law enforcement. One of them is going to be that there are some phone calls that are made around the time and in the early morning hours of the shooting. There are some text messages that are sent as well. What the evidence is going to show, members of the jury, is that those phone calls, those text messages, they were not made by Ronnie Walker. They were not made by Erica Sweet. They were made by the person who had possession of that phone, Robert Creed. And you will know that because I expect you'll have a chance to see a text message sent from Mr. Creed to his cousin, telling his cousin, hey, this is Q. You will know that it's Robert Creed using the phone because I expect that you will hear some evidence that the phone numbers being used and being called, those are connected to Mr. Creed's family. No connection to Mr. Walker, no connection to Miss Sweet. Why is this going to be important? Because at the time when this phone is traveling in the same areas as Alexia Alexander, we know the person in possession of this phone is not Mr. Walker, it is Robert Creed. This name Robert Creed started coming up a lot in the investigation, so naturally Detective Wheeland, who is the lead detective in the case, I expect you will hear from him, he then starts to look into Mr. Creed. He interviews Mr. Creed, he pulls phone records for Mr. Creed, and when he pulls the phone records for Mr. Creed, it's not to be minimized. It's not that there was some phone calls between Mr. Creed and Nylexia Alexander. You're going to see the phone records. And you're going to see, starting as back as far as April 29th, 2022, so we're talking just a couple of days before the shooting, there are multiple phone calls, multiple text messages between Mr. Creed and or Nylexia Alexander. Either he's calling her or she's calling him, or back and forth. And those phone contacts continue up until April 30th. And then after that, there's nothing else. But this is the connection law enforcement was looking for. How did Nylexia Alexander end up in that black Ford? Well, now we know, because she was there to see Robert Creed. Again, absolutely no connection to Ronnie Walker. The investigation continues. I expect the next thing that you're going to learn is that in June of 2022, law enforcement in the state attorney's office make the decision to charge Ronnie Walker with first-degree murder. And they charge him essentially for a few different reasons. So I expect you're going to hear Detective Whelan testify about those. One, it was Ronnie Walker's car that is seen driving around the area. Two, Ronnie Walker, they believed, was at the gas station at Thornton's sometime after the shooting. And three, the DNA that was found in the car. I'll talk to you some more about the DNA. I'm going to go back a couple of slides. You're going to hear from someone who tested the DNA. You're going to hear from a DNA expert. And that person's going to explain a few things to you. One, they cannot say whether or not definitively that is blood that they located in the car. There are some chemical tests that they can do. Sometimes these chemicals can cause a false positive for blood. A cleaning agent, for example, can often cause a positive result for blood, even though it's not blood. So that's the first thing they'll tell you. Two, they cannot tell you whether or not that blood, if it is blood, belongs to Nylexia Alexander. They simply don't know. Even if there is blood there, if you have what is called a mixture, they can't tell you which person contributed that blood. So when Mr. Terry comes up here and tells you Nylexia Alexander's blood is found, the evidence will show something different.
What?
Three, when we talk about a mixture, it is not as though we are talking about the DNA gets in a particular location at the same time. What I expect you will hear from the DNA expert is that a mixture simply means is that one person's DNA is found in the same location as another person. They can't tell you whose DNA got there first, whose DNA got there second, whether the DNA got there at the same time. Even though DNA evidence is quite powerful, there are limits to that DNA. Despite all of these things, right, despite the fact that law enforcement believes that this is Ronnie Walker's car, Ronnie Walker's at the gas station, Ronnie Walker is in the Tampa General Hospital with the same place as the phone, all of the same things you will hear are exactly true for Robert Creed. He's at the gas station. Robert Creed, and in fact, Robert Creed's the one with the connection to Nylexia Alexander. What I expect you're going to learn is that law enforcement has a bit of a problem at this point. They don't know what happened inside that car. They know that it's Ronnie Walker's car, but that's about as much as they know. So I expect you're going to learn that at some point there is a second interview done with Robert Creed. During the first interview, Robert Creed denies knowing Nylexia Alexander. When they confront Robert Creed with the phone records, Robert Creed says, no, that's not true, that's not me, I don't know who this person is, I don't know anything about someone dying. The second time you hear that an interview is done with Mr. Creed, you're going to learn that at that point, the interview goes a little bit differently. Because what the evidence will show is that that interview starts off with the detective telling Mr. Creed, if you don't tell me that someone else did this, we're going to have to charge you with murder. What you're going to hear is that the detective tells Robert Creed that Ronnie Walker's show is that the detective then says to Robert Creed, if Ronnie Walker just shot and killed her in the car because he was mad at her, just tell me that. And then, and only then, you will hear that Robert Creed, for the first time, changes his story and says, that's exactly what happened. And from there on out, Robert Creed mimics, repeats what the detective had told him. You will then hear that Mr.
Okay, y'all know we have to intervene. Now, Robert is locked up for this, y'all. He is locked up for the crime. Ronnie also need to be locked up as well because he was in the car with him and that's his car. Ronnie could have paid Robert to do what Robert did. Ronnie don't care whether he be charged or not because he still, if it weren't for Natalia having her phone in backer Ronnie car, then we wouldn't be here today. His DNA and Natalia DNA is inside of that car. So sure, he should be charged for it. Just like Robert.
Is interviewed multiple other times by other lawyers after he is arrested. And there are a couple of important things to keep in mind. Robert Creed is never arrested for the murder of Alexia Alexander.
Yes, it was.
He's not arrested in principle. Again, this isn't a felony murder. The prosecution arrested one man and one man only. And that was Ronnie Walker.
That's not
They
what the
arrest
prosecutor
Robert
just
Creed
said.
for accessory after the fact. But I expect when Mr. Creed comes in here to testify, he's not going to be able to tell you what exactly he did as an accessory after the fact. He's going to come in here and tell you that he pled guilty, and the only reason he pled guilty is because he didn't want to go to prison for the next 30 years. And that if he comes in here and tells this story that was repeated to him by the detective, he believes he's going to get to go home. He's going to get a benefit for his testimony.
I don't think so. I think it's gonna stay the same. I just want to make sure that Ronnie is charged for murdering too, because I believe Ronnie the one played Robert.
That's where the judge's instruction at the end of the case is going to come into play, when he talks to you about looking at this testimony with a very critical eye. Because at the end of the day, Robert Creed cannot be trusted. He has lied to law enforcement. He has changed his story. He's being a benefit for being here and testifying. And when you hear the details given to law enforcement by Robert Creed, because eventually Mr. Creed is pressed for details. Okay, well tell me, where was Alexia when she was shot? Where was Mr. Walker when he was shot? Those details are not going to add up with the evidence. Robert Creed is going to come in here and tell you that Ronnie Walker was sitting in the driver's seat, had a gun in his left hand, turned around, and shot Alexia Alexander in the car. And that's not going to add up with the evidence. There are going to be no bullet holes, no projectiles, no blood located in the interior of that car. And you're going to get a chance to see and hear about all of that. I expect, as Mr. Terry said, you're also going to hear about Stanley Wilson. And I won't spend too much time on Mr. Wilson other than to say you're going to learn quite quickly that the timeline given to you by Mr. Wilson is completely off. That when he's saying things are happening, it is verifiably true that it is not happening. And I'll give you an example. Mr. Wilson is going to tell you that he remembers he has a conversation with Mr. Walker where Mr. Walker supposedly confesses And that conversation happens the day before Stanley Wilson turns himself into jail in Manatee County. He is emphatic about that. This conversation happens the day before I turn myself into Manatee County Jail. What you're going to learn is that Mr. Wilson turns himself into Manatee County Jail sometime in April of 2022, before the shooting even happened. So that is just one example of the fact that the timeline is not going to add up. You're going to hear that at the time that Mr. Wilson gives his statement to law enforcement, it's all over the news that Mr. Walker had been arrested. There are some details about the case that had been printed, and the details that Mr. Wilson gives are the exact details that were printed in an article about the case. You're also going to hear that Mr. Wilson, at the time that he gives his statement, he has lots of motive to try and give a statement, to try and help the prosecution convict a murderer. You're going to hear that Mr. Wilson was in a world of trouble. He had been in jail, bonded out, committed more crimes, bonded out, and he was about to have his bond revoked. He was about to be in a situation where he would have to go back to jail. And it is during that time frame that he has his lawyer reach out to the prosecution and tell the prosecution, hey, Stanley Wilson wants to provide you with this information. And sure enough, the very same day that Mr. Wilson provides this information, you will hear that the state of Florida drops their motion to revoke his bond, and Stanley Wilson's able to remain out and about free. You will then hear that Mr. Wilson ends up getting a deal in his cases where he does some prison time, but not nearly as much prison time as his score sheet given to him reflected he should have. And part of that deal is that he, like Robert Creed, is required to be here and required to testify against Mr. Walker. So again, when it comes to that instruction, I expect the judge will give you at the end of the case, you will have every reason in the world to view Mr. Wilson's evidence.
If you're looking to get money you're owed for an injury,
Wow.
I want you to imagine you and your family getting that money, because I know a way that you can. Now,
Evidence as critically as you can. I'll repeat what I stated earlier. This is not a case where multiple people are involved in the killing of Miss Alexander. There is one person arrested. The state of Florida has chosen that person to be Ronnie Walker. The evidence is going to show that they have chosen wrong. Because all of the evidence, and when you go back to that deliberation room, you're going to have the evidence, the photographs, whatever videos, but you're also going to have
I think you're going to lose.
And that common sense is going to show you that Mr. Walker is innocent. He is as innocent as he is today, and he will remain innocent at the end of this case because the state of Florida will be unable to prove their burden. There is not a moment during this trial where the burden of proof will move from this table where these two prosecutors sit. There is not a moment during this trial where you should look to Mr. Walker to prove anything or to disprove anything or explain anything. Those are all the presumptions that you agreed to follow when you were selected as jurors. The judge at the end of the case will tell you you can find a reasonable doubt in the evidence, in the lack of evidence, and in any conflicts in the evidence. And at the end of the case, you are going to have reasonable doubt in all of these places. You're going to find that there's information given to the detective that he never followed up on. Because like I said, the evidence will show they got their man. They put all of their eggs in one basket, and that's what they stuck with. The evidence is going to show that it was not Mr. Walker that shot and killed Nylexia Alexander. It will show that that person was Robert Creed. Thank you for your time and attention.
He probably wasn't the shooter. But it was his car, and the phone was in there. So y'all, what y'all just heard with this man right here, Ronnie Walker. Now, when y'all get a chance to put in the comment section, when you put in the chat, in the comment section, that's say comment section. Do y'all think he should be charged for what happened to Alexia? I do. I think he should be charged because number one, he involved. Number two, he was mad with Alexia because he think that she gave him an STD. And number three, he knew what he was coming there to do to her. He didn't shoot, allegedly. Allegedly, he had a gun, but I don't know. But they didn't mention him. But Robert Creed did admit he did murder her. This man right here is a killer. He is involved. It is his car who picked up Alexia. It was his car with the DNA on the inside of it in the back seat. It was his car that the phone, that he didn't know that Alexia phone was in the back seat of his car. He trying not to put himself at the scene. But it is his car. It's his DNA. Then he picked up Erica, went over Erica's house. That's his girlfriend. This is a grown man with a 14-year-old girl in the car. This case reminds me of a Naziah Harris case, a case that we've been studying. When y'all get a chance, your opinion about this case. That is the only thing that we're concerned about on our channel. Okay? It's the case study. Should this man be charged? Prosecuted for what he did? Yes. Y'all like, share, and subscribe. And thanks for being here, my subscribers and my TikTokers and my moderators. They are behind the scene. I love y'all. Peace.